So now we discuss Indian polity. Taking from its is Baba. Okay, so all the question is very important. Indian polity. Now we discuss MCQ. Okay, so first question. Consider the following statements. Okay, so here you can see the question. So answer the following directive principles are added to the original list by the 42nd Amendment Act 1976. Okay, added 1976 42nd Amendment Act. Okay, B is the answer 1 and 3. To promote equal justice and provide free legal aid to the poor, and to protect and improve the environment and safeguard forest and wildlife. Okay. 42nd Amendment Act 1976 added following directive principles to the original list: to secure opportunities for healthy development of children, Article 39; to protect, improve the environment and safeguard forest and wildlife, Article 49A; to promote equal justice and provide free legal aid to the poor, Article 39A; to promote participation of workers in the management of industries, Article 43A; to secure opportunities and healthy development, Article 39; to protect children and to protect, improve environment and to safeguard forest and wildlife, Article 49A; to promote equal justice and provide free legal aid to the poor, 39A; promote participation of to promote participation of workers in the management of industries. Okay, Article 43A. Okay, now we discuss direct principles of state policy. Okay, which next question: with regard to President of India, which of the following statements is incorrect? Wrong कौन सी है? ठीक है, C is the wrong. Okay, President. Okay, Vice President. Oh, President. So President can resign by addressing the resignation letter to the Supreme Court of India. So it's wrong. The President holds office for a term of 5 years from the date of which he enters upon his office. However, he can resign from his office at any time by addressing the resignation letter to the Vice President. Further, he can also be removed from the office before completion of his term by the process of impeachment. The president can hold office beyond his term of 5 years until his successor assumes charge. He is also eligible for re-election to that office. He may be elected for any number of terms. However, in the USA, a person cannot be elected to the office of the president more than twice. Okay, qualification for election as president. Qualification for election as president. A person to be eligible for election as president should be fulfill the following qualifications. He should be a citizen of India. He should have completed for 35 years of age. He should be qualified for election as a member of the Lok Sabha. He should not hold any office or profit under the Union government or any state government or any local authority or any other public authority. A sitting president or vice president of the Union, the government of any state, and the minister of the Union or any state is not deemed to hold any office of profit, and he is qualified as a presidential candidate. Further, that motivates the nomination of the candidate for election to the office of president must be subscribed by at least 50 electors as best proposers and 50 electors as seconders. The president has veto power with respect to the state legislation. Also, a bill passed by a state legislature can become an act only if it receives the assent to the governor or the president. In case the bill is reserved for the consideration of president, when a bill passed by the state legislature is presented to the governor for his office, he has 4 alternatives. Under Article 200 of the Constitution, he may give his assent to the bill. He may withhold his assent to the bill. He may return the bill if it is not a money bill for the reconsideration of the state legislature. He may reserve the bill for the consideration of president. In case of the vacancy is caused by the expiration of the term of the sitting president. In case of vacancy caused by the expiration of the term of the sitting president in the president's office, which of the following statements is correct? Okay, so here on election to fill the vacancy. Okay, must be held before the expiration of the term in case of any delay is conducting the election. Sorry, here is the correct answer. In case of vacancy caused by the expiration of the term of the sitting president in the president office, which of the following statements are correct? An election to fill the vacancy must be held before the expiration of the term. Okay. So next question. In case of any delay conducting the election of new president by any reason, the outgoing president continues to hold the office. Okay. Okay. If the official falls vacant by resignation, removal, death, or otherwise, then election to fill the vacancy should be held within 6 months from the date of the occurrence of such a vacancy. The newly elected president remains in office for a full term of 5 years. Okay, when a vacancy occurs in the office of the president due to his resignation, removal of death or otherwise, the vice president acts as the president until a new president is elected. Further, when the sitting president is unable to discharge his function due to absence, illness, and other causes, the vice president discharges his function until the president resumes his office. In case the office of the vice president is vacant, the chief justice of India in his office is also vacant. The senior most judge of the Supreme Court is available, acts as president or discharge function of the president. So I'm going to take just 1 minute because very wind blowing now. Okay, let's start. With regard to procedure for amendment of the Constitution, as per Article 368, consider the following statement. Article 368, amendment of the Constitution. Here A is the correct answer. 1 and 3. An amendment bill can be introduced by both minister and private member. Okay, and president can neither withhold his assent to the amendment bill, not send it back for reconsideration of the parliament. Okay, amendment bill can be introduced not only by the minister but also by private member, and that too withhold his prior permission of the president. Amendment bill is introduced in the House of the Parliament and must be passed with special majority in each house separately. Okay, Parliament, then the bill is presented to President for the assent. President must give assent to the bill. President can neither withhold his assent to the amendment bill, nor send it back for reconsideration. Basic structure of the Constitution. The basic structure of doctrine is the Indian judicial principle that the Constitution of India has certain basic features that cannot be altered or destroyed through amendments of the Parliament. By 1973, the basic structure of doctrine triumphed in the landmark decision of Kesavananda Bharati versus State of Kerala. Previously, the Supreme Court held that the power of the Parliament to amend the Constitution was unfettered. However, in this landmark ruling, the court adjudicated that while Parliament has wide powers, it did not have the powers to destroy or emasculate the basic elements of fundamental features of the Constitution. Key among these basic features are the fundamental rights granted to individuals by the Constitution. The doctrine thus forms the basis of the limited power of the Supreme Court to review and strike down constitutional amendments enacted by the Parliament, which conflict with or seek to alter its basic structure of the Constitution. The basic features of the Constitution have not been explicitly defined by the judiciary, and to the claim of any particular features of the Constitution to be basic features of the determined by the court in each case that comes before it. The basic structure doctrine applies only to constitution amendment. The basic structure doctrine does not apply to ordinary acts of parliament, but which must itself be in conformity with the constitution. Marry the following. The amendments provides for the formation of the national judicial appointment. Which is the correct? D is the correct. 1A, 2B, okay, all are correct. Okay. The amendment provides for the formation of the National Judicial Appointment Commission, NJSC. 99th amendment related to land boundary agreement. 100th amendment and amendment provided special provision for the Hyderabad Karnataka region of the state of Karnataka. 98th amendment. Okay, what is Article 371J? Its second, it will grant special status to 6 backward districts of Hyderabad Karnataka region to establish a separate development board. This board will see that sufficient funds are allocated for development of the region. Local reservation of education and government job. 99th amendment NJSC. There is a need for a broad-based National Judicial Appointment Commission for making a recommendation for selection of judge. The bill seeks to enable actual participation The bill seeks to enable equal participation of judiciary executive, ensure that the appointments to the high judiciary and more participatory, transparent and objective. Creation of NJSC. Article 124(2) of the Constitution provides that the President will make appointments of Supreme Court and High Court. The High Court judge after consultation with the Chief Justice of India and other Supreme Court and High Court judge of the considered necessary. The bill amends Article 124(2) of the Constitution to provide for a commission to be known as National Judicial Appointment Commission. The NJSC would then make recommendation to the President for appointments of SC and High Court judge. Okay, composition of NJSC. New article 124A provides for the composition of the NJSC. NJSC would consist Chief Justice of India, Chairperson, two senior most judge of the Supreme Court, the Union Minister of Law and Justice, two eminent persons to be nominated by a committee consisting of the Chief Justice of India, Prime Minister of India and Leader of Opposition. In the Lok Sabha, of the two eminent persons, one person would be from the SC, ST, OBC minority community by BA women. The eminent persons shall be nominated for a period of 3 years and shall not be eligible for re-nomination. Function of NJSC. A new article 124B provides for the function of the NJSC, which include recommending persons for appointment of Chief Justice of India, judges of the Supreme Court, Chief Justice of High Court and other judges of the High Court. Recommending transfer of the Chief Justice and other judges of High Court from one High Court to any other High Court, and ensuring that the persons recommended are of ability and integrity. Overall, NJSC will have two functions. Will replace the collegium system, appointing a Supreme Court or High Court judge, recommend transfer of judge from the High Court to another. The Constitution 100th Amendment Act 2015 is intended to operationalizing the May 1974 LBA that pertains to exchange of certain enclaves of land in both of the countries. Background: the exchange will see Bangladesh take over 111 enclaves, 17,160 acres from India's possession and India in terms of receive 51 enclaves from Bangladesh. In Assam, India will get 470 acres of land from Bangladesh, while 268 acres will go to the Bangladesh. Enclaves are tiny landlocked territories that each country has within the borders of the other nation. The enclaves in Assam, West Bengal, Tripura, Meghalaya, Kaman, the bills ambit. Answer the following statements. Council of here the answer is 1 and 3. Council of Minister cannot exist without the Prime Minister. The Council of Ministers shall not exceed 15% of the total number of members of the House of the People. Council of members are collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha of ministers are individually responsible to President of India. Council of Ministers cannot exist without the Prime Minister. Each minister need not resign separately. The resignation of the Prime Minister amounts to the resignation of the entire Council of India. Minister. Council of Ministers shall be not exceeded 15% of the total members of the House of People. Article 74. Council of Ministers to aid and advise of the President. There shall be a Council of Ministers with the Prime Minister at the head to aid and advise the President, who shall, in the exercise of his function, act in accordance with such advice. However, the President may require the Council of Ministers to reconsider such advice, and the President shall act in accordance with the advice tendered after such reconsideration. The advice tendered by ministers to the President shall not be incurred into any court. Article 75. Other provisions as to ministers. The Prime Minister shall be appointed by the President, and the other ministers shall be appointed by the President, on the advice of the Prime Minister. The total number of ministers, including the Prime Minister in the Council of Ministers, shall not be exceeded 15% of the total strength of the Lok Sabha. The provisions has added 91st Amendment Act 2003. A member of either House of Parliament belonging to any political party who is disqualified on the grounds of defection shall also be disqualified to be appointed as a minister. This provision was also added. Just 1 minute. Was also added 91st Amendment Act 2003. The minister shall hold office during the pleasure of the President. The Council of Ministers shall be collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha. The President shall administer. Sorry, I want to take just 1 minute. Then come. Sorry, just 1 minute. Okay, let's start. The minister shall hold office during the pleasure of the President. The Council of Ministers shall be collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha. The President shall administer the oaths and office of the secretary to the minister. A minister who is not a member of the Parliament, either House, for any period of 6 consecutive months shall cease to be a minister. The salaries and allowance of ministers shall be determined by the Parliament. Consider the following statements. Okay, here all are correct. Okay, both 1 and 2. Cabinet committees are not just non-constitutional body. Cabinet committees are set up by the Prime Minister. The extra features of the cabinet committees, they are extra constitutional in emergence. In other words, they are not mentioned in the Constitution. However, the rules of business provide for their establishment. They are of two types, standing and ad hoc. The former are of a permanent nature, while the latter of a temporary nature. The ad hoc committee or committee constituted from time to time with from the time to time to deal with special features, special problems. They are disbanded after the task is completed. They are set up by the Prime Minister according to the exigencies of the time, the requirements of the situation. Hence, their number, nomenclature, and composition varies from time to time. They not only include the minister in charge or subject covered by them, but also include other senior ministers. They're mostly headed by the prime minister. Sometimes they are other cabinet minister, particularly the home minister and finance minister also act as the chairman. But in case of the prime minister is a member of the cabinet committee, he invariably presides over it. They not only sort out issues and formulate proposals for the consideration of the cabinet, but also take decision how the cabinet can review their decision. They are an organizational device to reduce the enormous workload of the cabinet. They also facilitate in depth examination of policy issue and effective coordination. They are based on the principles of division of labor and effective delegation. Consider the following statements. So see the three correct answer. When the office of the both president and the vice president are vacant, the Chief Justice of India performs the function of the office. A resolution to impeach the president must be passed by a majority of not less than 2/3 of the total membership of the House, and not 2/3 of those present in the House. Members of the Legislative Council of the state do not participate in the election of the President of India. When the offices of both President and Vice President are vacant, Chief Justice of India performs the functions of the office. The Constitution of India can be amended by all are correct. Okay, the Constitution of India can be amended by simple majority of the Parliament, special majority of the Parliament, and ratification on half of the state legislature. Article 368 provides for two types of amendment. That is by a special majority of Parliament and also through the ratification half of the states by simple majority. But some other articles provide for the recommendation of the centre certain provision in the constitution by the simple majority of Parliament. That is a majority of the members of each house of the House present and voting. Similar to the ordinary legislative process, notably these amendments are not deemed to be amendments of the Constitution for the purpose of the Article 368. Therefore, the Constitution can be amended in three ways: amendment or in simple majority of Parliament, amendment in special majority of the Parliament, amendment by special majority of the Parliament, and the ratification of half of the state legislature. Which of the statements is not true with regard to the office of the Vice President of India? This is the answer. The Electoral College for election to this office consists of the elected members of both the House of the Parliament and holds office for a term of 6 years. Eligibility to become Vice President of India. As per the Article 66, the candidates contesting for election of Vice President of India should fulfill the below conditions. He must be a citizen of India. He must have completed age of 35 years. He cannot hold an office for profit. He must be qualified to become a member of the Rajya Sabha. The Electoral College for election to this office consists of the elected members of both House of the Parliament, and the person who elected holds office for a term of 5 years, not 6 years. The Vice President, like the President, is elected not directly by the people but by the method of the indirect election. He is elected by the members of the Electoral College, consisting of the members of both House of the Parliament. Thus, the Electoral College is different from the Electoral College for the election of the President in the following two respects. It consists of both elected and nominated members of the Parliament. In the case of the President, unelected members. It does not include the members of the State Legislative Assembly. In the case of the President, the elected members of the State Legislative Assembly are included. The functions of Vice President are twofold. The functions of Vice President are twofold. He acts as the ex-officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. In this capacity, his power and functions are similar to those of the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. In this respect, he resembles the American Vice President, who also acts as the chairman of the Senate. In this capacity, his power, ex-officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha, he acts like a vice president. His power and function are similar to those of the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. In this respect, the resemblance of the American vice president, who also acts as the chairman of the Senate, the upper house of the American legislature. He acts as the president when a vacancy occurs in the office of the president due to his resignation, removal, death, or otherwise. He can act as the president only for a minimum period of 6 months, within which a new president has to be elected. Further, when the sitting president is unable to discharge his function due to absence, illness, or any other cause, the vice president discharges his function until the vice president resumes his office. While acting as president or discharging the function of the president, the vice president does not perform the duties of the office of the chairman or Rajya Sabha. During this period, those duties are performed by the deputy chairman of the Rajya Sabha. In comparison to the office of the president and office vice president, consider the following statement. In comparison to the office of president and vice president, that's the following statement. Okay, though A is the right answer. While office of president is designed on British model, office of vice president of India is designed on lines of American vice president. While the presidential candidate should be qualified to be a Lok Sabha MP, vice presidential candidate should be qualified to be a Rajya Sabha MP. While the president takes the oath of office to preserve, protect, and defend the candidate to the Constitution, vice president takes the oath and of true faith and allegiance to the Constitution. The term of the vice president is 5 years. In Indian context, which of the following statements is not true with regard to the Prime Minister? B is the correct answer. As per constitutional provisions, the President has to appoint the leader of the majority of the party, Lok Sabha, as the Prime Minister. The Constitution does not contain any specific procedure for the selection of the appointment of the Prime Minister. Article 75 says that only that the Prime Minister shall be appointed by the President. However, this does not imply that the President is free to appoint any other member of any one of the Prime Minister. In accordance with the convention of the parliamentary system of the government, the President has to appoint the leader of the majority party in the Lok Sabha as the Prime Minister. 1997 Supreme Court held that the person who is not a member of the House of the Parliament, he can be appointed as the Prime Minister of the 6 months for 6 months. A person who is not a member of either House of the Parliament can be appointed as a Prime Minister for 6 months, within which he should become a member of either House of the Parliament. Otherwise, he is seized by the Prime Minister. Okay, constitutionally, the Prime Minister may be a member of the 2 houses of the Parliament. For example, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, Dev Gowda, and Manmohan Singh were a member of the Rajya Sabha. In Britain, on the other hand, the Prime Minister should definitely to be a member of the lower house. Okay. And here you can see the President may exercise his personal discretion in the selection of the appointment of the Prime Minister. In such a situation, the President usually appoints the leader of the largest party of the coalition, the Lok Sabha, as the Prime Minister and asks him to seek a vote of confidence in the House within a month. In India, the Prime Minister is the chairman of which of the following organization? In India, the Prime Minister is the chairman of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all. National Integrated Council, the Prime Minister is the chairman. National Integrated NIC, National Integration Council, Interstate Council, National Disaster Management Authority, National Board for Wildlife, Department of Atomic Energy, okay, and Nuclear Command Authority, National Board of Wildlife, National Council of Population Control, Department of Space, Atomic Energy, National Board of Wildlife, National Disaster Management Authority, Nuclear Command Authority, Okay, Council of Science, CSIR, AIMS Council of Climate Change, National Water Resource Council, Interstate Council. Okay. The Speaker of the Lok Sabha derives his power and duties from which of the following sources? The Speaker of the Lok Sabha derives his power and duties from which of the following sources? All of the above. Rules, procedure and conduct of business of Lok Sabha, Constitution of India, Parliamentary Convention. Okay, Lok Sabha derives. The Speaker of the Lok Sabha derives his power and duties following sector. The Speaker of the Lok Sabha derives his powers and duties from three sources, that is the Constitution of India, the rules of procedure and conduct of business of Lok Sabha, and Parliamentary Convention, statutory powers that are unwritten and unspecified in the rules. The Speaker is the head of the Lok Sabha and its representative. He is the guardian of the powers of the and privilege of the members. The House as a whole and its committees. He is the principal spokesperson of the House, and his decision in all parliamentary matters is final. He is thus much more than merely present presiding officer of the Lok Sabha. In this capacity, he is vested with the vast, varied and vital responsibilities and enjoys great honor, his high dignity and supreme authority within the House. Consider the following statements. To its correct answer, money bill can only be introduced in the Lok Sabha and on the recommendation of the President. Financial bill are those bills that deals with the fiscal matters, that is revenue or expenditure. However, the Constitution uses the term financial bill in a technical sense. Financial bills are three kinds: money bill, Article 110, financial bill, Article 117, financial bill 2, Article 117.3. The classification implies that the money bill are simply specifies a financial bill. Okay, hence that all money bills are financial bill, but all financial bills are not money bills. Okay, only those financial bills are money bill which contain exclusively those matters which are mentioned in the Article 110 of the Constitution. So 1 minute waits. Okay, let's start. Okay, the classification implies that the money bill are bill. Okay, here you can do. These also certified by the Speaker of the Lok Sabha in the money bill. Financial bills 1 and 2, on the other hand, have been dealt with the Article 117 of the Constitution. Hence, our statement 1 is correct. Okay, the Constitution laid down the special procedure. The Constitution lays down the special procedure for passing a money bill in the Parliament. A money bill can only be introduced in the Lok Sabha, and that too on the recommendation of the President. Every such bill is considered to be governed by the government, to be a government bill, and can be introduced only by a minister. Hence, statement 2 is correct. Answer the following statements. A, the correct one is correct. The joint sitting of is governed by the rules or procedure of Lok Sabha and not by the Rajya Sabha. The Speaker of the Lok Sabha presides over the joint sitting of the two houses, and the Deputy Speaker in his absence, in the Deputy Speaker is also absent from a joint sitting. The Deputy Chairman of the Rajya Sabha presides. If he is also absent, such other person as may be determined by the members present at the joint sitting presides over the meeting. It is clear that the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha does not preside over a joint sitting as he is not a member of the either house of the Parliament. Joint sitting is applicable to ordinary bill or financial bill only, and not to money bills or constitutional amendment bills. Next question. Okay, 1950. Here you can see the Constitution has specified that the joint sitting new amendments bill cannot be proposed except in the two cases: those amendments that have caused final disagreement between the House and those amendments that might have been necessary to delay in the passage of the bill. Since 1950, the provision regarding the joint sitting of the two houses has been invoked only thrice. The bills have been passed at joint sitting at Dowry for Prohibition Bill 1960, Banking Services Commission Bill 1977, Prevention of Terrorism Bill 2002. Who among the following are the elected by single transferable vote system? You see 2 and 3 by Vice President and member of the Rajya Sabha. Okay, through the Constitution has adopted the system of proportional representation in the Rajya Sabha. In the case of Rajya Sabha, it is favored the same system of the Lok Sabha. Instead, it has adopted the system of territorial representation for the election of the members of the Lok Sabha. The system of proportional representation aims at removing the defects of territorial representation. Under this system. All sections of the people get representation in proportion to their member. Even the smallest section of the population gets its due share of representation in the legislature. There are also two kinds of proportional representation, namely single transferable vote system and list system. In India, the first kind of is adopted for the election of the members to the Rajya Sabha and state legislative council, and for electing the president and the vice president. Consider the following statements about 0 hour. See both. The 0 hour is not mentioned in the rules of procedure. It is an Indian innovation in the field of the parliamentary procedures and has been in existence since 1962. Unlike the question hours, the 0 hour is not mentioned in the rules of procedure. The 0 hour states immediately in the question hours. After the question hours, okay, the time between the gap between the question hour and the agenda is known as 0 hour. It is an Indian innovation in the field of the parliamentary procedures and has been existent since 1962. Which among the following issue notification of prorogation of a session of the parliament? Okay, president. Okay. Here you can see the president from time to time summons each house of the parliament to meet, but the maximum gap between the two houses of parliament cannot be more than 6 months. So in other words, the parliament should meet at least twice a year. There are usually 3 sessions in a year: the budget session February to May, and monsoon session July to September, the winter session November to December. A session of parliament is in the period of the spanning between the first sitting of house and its prorogation, dissolution of the in the case of Lok Sabha. During session, the house meets every day to transact business. The period spanning between the prorogation of a house and its reassembly in the session called as recess. Okay, adjournment it only terminates of sitting and not a session of the house. It is done by the presiding officer of the house. It does not affect the bills or any other business pending with the house and the same can be resumed when the house meets again. Prorogation. It's not only terminates its sitting but also session of the house. It is done by the President of India. It also does not affect the bill or any other business pending before the house. However, all pending notice other than those are for introducing bills, lapse on prorogation and prior notice have to be given for the next session. The important prorogation brings to an end all bills and any other business pending before the house. In India, no discussion on a matter of general public importance can take place except a motion made with the consent of the presiding officer. With regard to resolution and motions, consider the following statements. Is the correct one. Every resolution is a particular type of motion. All resolution came under the category of every resolution is the substantive motion. Every resolution is a particular type of motion. All motions are not necessarily put to vote, whether all the resolutions are required to be voted upon. Here you can see the motion: substantive motion, substitute motion, subsidiary motion, ancillary motion, ancillary superseding amendment. Okay, you can see the excess grant must be approved by which of the following committee in submitted voting? It is Public Accounts Committee. Okay, so thank you friends. Okay, so next we'll discuss this again. So thank you. We help to you. So thank you, friends.